เตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุทธัปปาทิญาณังอุทธัปปาทิปัญญาอุทธัปปาทิวิชชาอุทธัปปาทิอาโลโกอุทธัปปาทิตังโฆปนิทังทุกขนิโรธคามินีปฏิปทาอริยสัจจังภาวิตันติเมภิกขเวปุเพอนันโนสุเตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุทธัปปาทิญาณังอุทธัปปาทิปัญญาอุทธัปปาทิวิชชาอุทธัปปาทิอาโลโกอุทธัปปา
2,600 years ago, Buddha lived. The story says that he was a prince and that his father the king did everything for his comfort and to educate him far from any suffering. This is how Buddha, whose real name Siddhartha Gautama, grew up in a castle where he had everything he wanted. Siddhartha Gautama gets married and has a child. At 29, he left the castle and saw 4 people who changed his life. The first person was an elderly man. The second person was a sick man. The third person was a corpse. The fourth person he saw was a religious ascetic who inspired Gautama to follow a similar path in search of freedom from the suffering. Gautama had just realized how much this world was full of suffering and that everyone on this earth was going to get old, be sick, and die.
I'm not interested in anything now. I wonder how people can be so happy when they know that they will die one day. Why people bother to dress up when one day they are going to be consigned to the flames?
Siddhartha was lost in his thoughts of old age, sickness, death. He was deeply thinking about the mystery of death.
He could no longer live with this idea in mind and continue to live a normal life. At the age of 29, he therefore gave up normal life, his wife and his child, to find an answer to the problem of suffering and find the path to liberation. By dint of meditation and reflection, at 35 years old, Gautama attained enlightenment and became Buddha. Buddha is not a god. Buddha is not even a name. Buddha means the awakened, the enlightened. Anyone can become a Buddha if he pursues all the virtues to perfection. Buddha spent much of the rest of his life teaching what he had learned and freeing others from suffering by helping them achieve nirvana before reaching it himself. I spent 20 days in Thailand with the Buddhist monks. I now know more about meditation and Buddhism. Buddhism is a religion based on the techniques of Buddha. The very essence of Buddhism is to free oneself from all suffering. It's a religion of peace, harmony, and loving kindness. For Buddhism, we are in a circle where we live, we die, and we are reincarnated. Samsara, the cycle of birth. A person who performs good deeds in his life will be reborn in a happy realm in the next life. A person who performs evil deeds in this life will be reborn in an unhappy realm in the next life. Karma is very important in Buddhism. An action, good or bad, produces a result. If you follow the law of karma, the more you give, the more you will receive. Example of karma law: if you give some food, you're gonna have a long life, good health, and physical strength. If you give some clothes, you're gonna have beauty and good status. A shelter, nice home. Some knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. If you give forgiveness, you will get kindness from others. As we have seen, for Buddhism, life is full of suffering. We are doomed to grow old, sick, and die. That's why Buddha found a solution: nirvana. It means that at the end of our life, we will not be reborn, we will simply reach nirvana, a place without suffering, a sort of paradise. But how to reach nirvana? 8 paths to reach nirvana. The right view: law of karma exists, generosity and hospitality are good and should be practiced. A child has a debt of gratitude to his parents. The right thought: to think about selfishness, hatred, or cruelty. The right speech: truth, politeness, kindness, and usefulness. The right action: to act with kindness, honesty, and non-violence. The right livelihood: to pursue a life free from greed and exploitation. The right effort: effort to do good and avoid bad. The right mindfulness: to be aware of consequences of one's personal actions. The right concentration: to cultivate the mind in the proper way. This is what gives me this impression that Buddhism is a key to becoming a better person. There may not be everything to take, but we still retain generosity, love, kindness, sharing, compassion. Buddhism is a solution to be happier. The triple gems are Buddha, the spiritual guide, Dharma, the techniques of Buddha, and Sangha, the community of practitioners. For millennia, Buddhist monks and nuns exist. They form the Sangha. Today, there are several 100,000 monks around the world, mostly in Thailand, China, India, Nepal, and a lot of other countries in Asia. After 2,600 years, the monks have the same clothes, the same customs, and the same precepts, which they all continue to respect. Monks have 5 main precepts to respect: no killing, no stealing, no adultery, not lying, no alcohol or drugs. 3 others are important: fast in the evening, no entertainment, no music, dance or movie, no comfort, sleep on a comfortable couch, for example. In all, there are 227 precepts. I had the chance to spend a few days with them, and I was able to learn from them. Meditation is a focal point in Buddhist. But Buddhist or not, meditation has many benefits: reducing stress, improving concentration, managing emotions, reducing anxiety, improving emotional well-being, building resilience, improving sleep, improving self-esteem. That's exactly what I find crazy. Everything is in meditation. A monk once told me, if you have a mental problem, the solution will not be in drugs or alcohol. If you have a mental problem, the solution is mental.
Meditation's been proven to reduce stress, frustration, depression and pain, and also to increase happiness, heightening levels of patience, acceptance and compassion.
Okay, all this makes you want to meditate, but how to meditate? There are many ways to meditate. The one I was taught, the most common, is to focus on a single element to be more present and less distracted. This is called focused attention. This element can be a word, a color, a sentence, an object, but most often we focus on breathing. When I meditate, I most often concentrate on my belly, which swells and deflates, and naturally my mind wanders. I think of loved ones, of moments I have lived, of a future trip. As soon as I realize it, I refocus on my belly, which swells and deflates. The goal is to lengthen his concentration time. The person who meditates for the first time may be able to concentrate 10 seconds maybe, then with practice 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. The more we manage to concentrate for a long time and deeply, the more the mind will be calm, and we will be able to find joy, compassion, well-being, self-peace and wisdom. Meditation is like any other activity. The more you practice, the more you progress. To see progress, it is very important to practice every single day. And what about my experience in Thailand? So, the center of meditation is between Chiang Mai and Pai in the north of Thailand. If you want to go there one day, you can do group retreats that explain the basics of meditation. Excluding retreats, the schedule is simple. Morning meditation chanting at 5:30, arms round at 6:20, breakfast at 7:30, meditation at 10 a.m, lunchtime, free time, often meditation, and evening chanting and meditation at 6:30 p.m. But of course you are free to follow it or not. Morning meditation starts at 5:30 a.m. and chanting is one of my favorite activities in this routine. To be honest, at the beginning, chanting was quite hard for me because I don't know how to sing and all the chanting books were in Pali, the language of Buddha. So it's very different from French or English and that was tough at the beginning. But with practice 2 times a day, after 20 days, of course, that was definitely one of my favorite activities.
Yoso Tathagato Araham Samma Sambuddho Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho.
So, what is alms round? Every morning, Buddhist monks go around the village to collect food that people give them for free. We have chance to follow them and help them carry the food. I really liked alms round because we could see the kindness of people and the generosity, and that was very peaceful to walk around the village. For all breakfast and meals, a Thai family generously prepares good and varied food. This is always good, sometimes spicy, but always good. We got a meditation at 10 a.m, so most of the time there is a monk with who we meditate. We can ask some advice, we can ask any question, sometimes we do some walking meditation. I really liked this meditation, I was quite focused at this time. After the meditation at 11:30, we have the second and last meal of the day. So you got free time in the afternoon until the evening chanting and meditation, but most of the time I try to meditate. And often monks purpose you to answer if you have any question, even if you want to meditate with them, you can. The center works by donation, but people generally give 500 baht per night. There is hot water, electricity, and even Wi-Fi if you want. Obviously, we meet people who come from all over the world with whom we all share a lot in common. An incredible kindness and sympathy. Personally, I have known meditation for a long time, but I don't practice it too much, to be honest. So I had pain in my legs from staying in the same position all the time. But with a lot of stretching every day, a different position at the end, a daily practice, the pain went away. I still have trouble maintaining my concentration, but I try to train often. As for religion, I knew nothing about Buddhism. What a joy to have learned so much from the monks and books about Buddha and religion. It's a religion that brings peace, serenity, and compassion. I still have so much to learn. I'm nothing and I know nothing, neither about Buddhism nor about meditation. Make your own experience and meditate until you find benefits. Thank you very much for listening.